the Jungian, daily. So picture this. I'm standing in the European wing at 3 a.m. and this woman in a Monet painting is staring at me like she knows something I don't, which sounds crazy, but after 6 months working night security at the Metropolitan Museum of Fine Arts, crazy starts feeling normal. My name's Naya, I'm 26, and I took this job because I needed health insurance and figured watching paintings all night would be peaceful. Turns out, spending 8 hours alone with centuries of human expression does things to your brain. That particular night, I was doing my usual rounds when I stopped in front of this portrait of a young woman in a blue dress. She had this look, not quite smiling, but not sad either. Just waiting. And suddenly I'm thinking about my sister, Keiko's wedding last month, where everyone kept asking when I'd settle down, get a real career, stop drifting. I'd given them my usual responses, the ones that make me sound thoughtful and intentional instead of completely lost. I'm exploring my options, taking time to figure things out. The words felt hollow even as I said them, like I was reading from a script someone else wrote. But standing there at 3 a.m., something shifted. I started really looking at the paintings, not just glancing as I walked by, but seeing them. And I noticed something weird. I was drawn to completely different pieces than I'd been 6 months ago. And when I first started, I gravitated toward these huge dramatic scenes. Battles, storms, moments of grand passion. Now I found myself lingering in front of quieter pieces. A woman reading by candlelight, an old man tending his garden, a child building something with blocks, completely absorbed. There was this one painting that stopped me cold, a self-portrait by an artist I'd never heard of. She'd painted herself at different ages in the same frame, as a young girl with wild eyes, as a middle-aged woman with calloused hands, as an elder with this deep, knowing smile. But instead of looking like different people, they looked like layers, like she was showing all the versions of herself that existed simultaneously. I pulled out my phone and started taking notes about what I was feeling, which sounds ridiculous but felt necessary. Why do I like different paintings now? I typed. What changed? Then it hit me. The paintings I was drawn to now showed people being authentically themselves, not performing for anyone else. The woman reading wasn't posing. She was lost in her book. The gardener wasn't trying to look noble. He was just loving his plants. The child wasn't building for applause. He was creating because creation felt good. I realized I'd been living like I was in one of those grand dramatic paintings, all gesture and performance, trying to be impressive enough to justify taking up space. But the person I actually was, the one who emerged during these quiet museum nights, was more like the woman reading by candlelight. The next morning, instead of going straight home, I stopped at a coffee shop and opened my laptop. No, for the first time in months, I wasn't checking job boards or scrolling through other people's accomplishments. I was writing, something I'd loved in college but abandoned because it wasn't practical. I wrote about the paintings, about the strange intimacy of being alone, with centuries of human creativity, about the way certain brush strokes could make you feel less alone in the world. My fingers moved faster than they had in years. Walking home as the city woke up, I felt different. Not like I'd figured everything out. I still needed health insurance, still didn't have a 5-year plan. But I'd stopped performing some version of myself I thought other people wanted to see. Jung talked about individuation as this process of becoming who you actually are, separate from what your family or society expects. But he also said we often discover ourselves through what we're drawn to, what psychologists call projecting onto external objects. Those paintings had become mirrors, showing me not just who I was, but who I was becoming. The quiet observer, the person who found meaning in small, authentic moments rather than grand gestures. Sometimes the path to yourself isn't about dramatic revelation. Sometimes it's about noticing what makes you stop and really look, then having the courage to trust what you see.